wise Jordan Peterson. Wondering, opining if you will, because wondering is simply not fancy enough for a man like Jordan Peterson. He opines, get it right, and he can never wear a normal piece of clothing. It has to be just freakish. So now he has like the Saints or something. He's in his Christian arc. I think a lot of this has to do with the I'm dying aspect. But really, Jordan, you've always been dying, just like everybody else. The second you're born, you're dying, man. It's not really true. You're living until you're dying. He's going to tell us what happens when we die. I have my opinions. I'm suspecting I'll sprinkle them in over the course.
We're made in the image of God. So.
Oh, well, took a second. Took 1 second for me to have a disagreement. Big disagree. Quite the claim, Jordan.
So, and we have
The guy just says yes.
Adam is granted the right and the responsibility to subdue and to name and to put everything in its proper place.
Yes.
Right? And Eve to bring to Adam's attention the things that remain outside his purview. And those are real things.
Yeah.
So
those are real things. What was Eve's job? To tell him stuff he didn't know?
So human beings have something real to do.
Yeah.
And so then you might say, real and important. And you might say, well, what makes something real? Now, this is a hard question. You know,
what makes something real? Fuck.
And the materialist answer is, well, let's say, sensory evidence. But I don't think that's right. I think what makes things real is death.
A rock doesn't die. So that's contingent on life, which isn't the most existent. Like, most of the matter that exists is not alive, okay, or not taking part in the process of life. Life is a quirk of biochemistry. It's pretty dope. It's pretty rad. I like life as opposed to, I think, just given that what we know about reality, there's either you're a living thing or you're nothing at all, and everything else is non-living. And so to be a living thing at all is a real crapshoot, right? There's, I mean, not I could have been a fly, but like the stuff that makes me could have been a fly in a different series of events, right? So I think of all the things that we know exists, pretty good gig. Being a human being. Maybe being a cat would have been okay if it was a well-loved cat. You get a nice 15, 20 years in you, and you just check out. You just get belly rubs every day. That'd probably be a pretty sweet gig. But, you know, not many existences better than being a human one time, because it's all we get.
And limitation, like if you're playing a game, if you're playing a video game, a first-person shooter game, it's a game because when you get killed, you're not dead.
Yeah.
It's not a game when death is in the in the offings, and so
well, it could still be a game. You ever seen Death Race or something? It could still be a game, whatever. People gamify death all the time. This is silly stuff. I don't know why the Christians really have a hard time talking about what's real, what's death, what's life, because they don't have any answers to anything. I don't know. Some people say there was a recent, maybe it was on the Jordan Peterson thing. There was recent comments about, like, I helped people process death a little bit from an atheistic perspective, but I'm wondering if the people that are saying thank you for that have come from a religious background before, because from a materialist point of view, it's like such truly dust to dust stuff, you know? It's just really poetic and nice, and you're being born wasn't so bad. I feel like it was pretty chill. After it's over, I can't imagine it being that bad either. So, well, yeah, its whole faith hinges on a guy that came back to life. Okay, but when they say Jesus came back to life, okay, all the accounts we get of the Jesus guy rising from the dead is like, and then he disappeared. Like, it sounds like a spirit. I don't know. Sounds like a ghost story, even in their retelling of it. Like the Lazarus parable is the closest thing I think you get to an actual resurrection story that seems to be neat like that. I don't know.
And what we're doing as human beings is real.
Yeah.
And the price we pay for reality, it looks to me like the price we pay for reality is death.
Yeah.
And it's real. And so that's going to have these consequences. And I think, you highlighted the
Just
most
ridiculous.
At least arguably the most painful of those consequences. People think there's nothing worse than death. I think, well, you have a limited imagination, first of all, because there are many things worse than death. And one of the things that
I know he's saying stuff. This right here kind of looks like a parrot because of the way the shadow is working and the bend of the face there. I kind of can't unsee parrot here, but I don't know if you guys can see it, like craning down and the beak is like here-ish. Anyway, I'm gonna tune back in, but that was really distracting me. The sensory information here is a lot for my ADHD brain.
Might well be worse than death is the death of a child.
Yes.
I think it's a very rare parent who wouldn't happily substitute themselves in a contest of death with their child. If in a heartbeat even.
Yeah.
And so now, why does God demand that price of reality? I think it has something to do with the fact that we do actually have something important to do. We're supposed to be establishing the kingdom of heaven of God on earth, and that's hard.
I would like an apology, and I'm never going to get one, but when I first started in doing any Jordan Peterson content, they were very inflamed by me saying he's just a normal Christian huckster, man. He's not different than any of the other guys. It was a big to-do that I said this. People were very upsetty spaghetti at me. I'm right, and I always have been. I'm ahead of my time. I'm a fucking trailblazer. I'm a real Renaissance man when you think about it. You lost subs over it? I literally, it was like a $50,000, or $50,000, I wish. 50,000 sub swap. We lost 50,000 subs and gained 50,000. It was crazy. From that series. You don't see swaps like that usually. It's just odd to have a angy little right-wing contingent. 12 rules for life, yeah. It was really weird. The community immediately got better, though. Like, literally, the comments cleaned up right after the Jordan Peterson gang left.
Like, actually hard. And the eternal enemies of that are sin and death. Yes. And those are real. And
sin and death. One of those is real. The other is definitely a construct. Sin. Ridiculous. I got into an argument the other. An argument got into me when a Christian he got mad at me on Twitter, and we talked for a while, and he ended up saying that his God doesn't have omniscience because it would be fucked up if he knew ahead of time that evil stuff was going to happen. I thought that was interesting. It wasn't a very smart Christian because then it's like, well, now your God is nothing. How can your God create everything and not be omniscient and then still be like a fucking God of the Bible? Like, it just undercuts the entire religion.
Fighting them is real. And when you're in a real battle, there's real death and there's real evil. And
you can die from sinning.
Brutal, but
oh no.
That's the price of reality. Now, then the question is, well, under what conditions is that price worth paying? And I think that's what the biblical stories actually attempt to explicate. The offering to Abraham, it isn't a life of ease. It's not a life of comfort, and it's not a life of hedonistic gratification. Mm-hmm. It's something like a life of adventure.
Yeah.
And I would also say there's probably no adventure.
So this kind of thing is so weird. It's a life of adventure. The Christians are obsessed with making sure that life isn't easy for people. Like, it really makes them mad. If people are made to have an easier go of it, it somehow reduces their virtue. And I just, like, this is part of the reason the archaic, like, religion is bad. Like, in the Bronze Age, it was hard out there. Of course they were fucking talking about suffering constantly because they were nomadic, walking around the fucking Bronze Age. There wasn't like, it was literally a problem during that time that a group of guys with knives might run over the hill and kill everybody. That's a problem you got to worry about while you're walking around. That's normal. The Bronze Age also collapsed because of raiders and stuff. The whole thing fell apart because dudes with boats and knives were fucking, and arrows were just murdering people. It was crazy back then. So of course they were like, wow, there's virtue in toil. Obviously, it must be that we are God's chosen people because we are toiling so much. Like, why? Every religion centers themselves and, like, idolize, whoever's writing it is like, well, all the stuff I do is virtuous. And then if they have enough power to enlist, fulfill the tenets of it to a crowd, they will be in charge of it, and then it gets disseminated. You see this all over the world. But now it's just guys in fucking blazers going like, you know what? Maybe I should have it harder than I need to. But specifically, maybe they should have it harder than they need to, while I have it only a little bit worse. Like, and by worse, I mean like, I'll pretend I'll go to church on Sundays. You know what I mean?
Sure, without death.
I'll tithe.
If you think about the movies that people watch, people will go watch secret agent movies and superhero movies.
Yeah. Oh no!
The secret agent movies in some ways work better because
name 7,000 secret agent movies. Name one that isn't 007. Name it. What secret agent movies are happening?
Person is mortal, and the depth of their commitment is measured by their willingness to put their life on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It looks to me like without
the Bourne Identity, that was fucking years ago. Maybe Mission Impossible. Is Mission Impossible? Is he a secret agent? I thought he was a rogue actor at this point. I thought he was just out there doing stuff. I don't even know. I guess that counts. I forgot about Mission Impossible. Jordan Peterson, redeemed.
This is a very weird thing, but it looks to me like without death, there's no reality.
Yeah.
And then you might say, well, that's a price not worth paying. It's like, that's an understandable argument.
Right. I totally disagree. It is entirely conceivable that if a God existed the way that the Christians describe, all-powerful, all-knowing, and heaven exists, it's clearly a realm, you could say a universe unto itself, where death is not an aspect. So if heaven can exist, which is its own thing, it's a realm outside of space-time, surely he's capable of creating a realm without death, right? Hell is a realm without death as well. So it's not out of his bag. It's definitely possible. I don't even know. I guess he would say that's not reality. It lives outside of reality. I would argue that if you're in heaven, that's real. You know what I mean? I guess it depends on what he defines as real. Well, we'll find out. He defines as real as if you can die in it. That's what it is. That's what he's saying. To be fair, he's had a few different takes on this topic.
Especially, that's the sort of thing you ask yourself when a child dies. But then you said something also that bears on that. Well, you said the depth of your grief is proportionate to the magnitude of your love.
Yes.
And so you might say, well, how could God constitute a world made such that a child could die? And then you think, well, if you have a child and the child dies and you grieve, the grief is an indication of the magnitude of the loss. And so the fact that you grieve, that's a testament to the value of the life, even though it was truncated.
Yes.
This guy's just nodding and saying yes. That's not an argument at all in favor of, like, well, the problem of evil, that's been solved. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't... You just said, well, people love the kids that when they die. Well, yeah. Well, it's a testament to their love. Okay. Problem of evil solved. They loved their dead kids. It's not at all addressed or solved. To solve the problem of evil means to provide an answer to why an all-loving God allows evil. You didn't do that. You just said people love their kids. The hairline's crazy? Nah, it's fine, dude. There's got to be memes out there where he has millennial fades. Actually, there's Zoomer fades now.
Yes.
So your grief is the proof of the value of the life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so what that means, as far as I can tell, is that grief itself is the justification of life in the face of death.
What? The justification of life in the face of death? Like, why shouldn't we just kill ourselves? Or what? I don't really understand.
But then there's the afterlife. And I believe in the afterlife. And I believe in heaven. And I believe in it more than I've ever believed. I've always been a student of heaven as a Christian. And the Bible speaks so much of heaven. But when my son went to be there, I wanted to know more about it. And as you read the Bible, you realize that heaven is a real place for real people to do real things. You know, Jesus said...
Are they just parroting each other? Why do they both say this real thing? Went to be there, yeah. His child went to be there. Who needs therapy? No, look. When I say Christianity harms you, this is part of what I mean, yeah. He's not processing his child's death. He's like, oh no, my child is alive and has occupations and hobbies. Ah, yes. Like, that's not healthy. That's so gross.
I go to prepare a place for you. And heaven in the Bible is pictured as a city. It's pictured as a country. It's pictured as a paradise. The Bible tells us we'll eat in heaven. We'll be reunited with loved ones in heaven.
Why do we need to eat in heaven? Just because it's pleasurable here? The reason it's pleasurable here is because we need it biologically. Are we going to shit in heaven too? I like taking a shit sometimes. I don't get it. Can God not think of anything more interesting to do than eat? Like, I like to eat on earth. In heaven, one would expect it an even broader, like, more transcendent experience. Vampires can at least expand the box a little bit. Have a little euphoric dinner when they suck, you know?
Heaven will be active, and then one day heaven comes to earth in what we call the millennium. Heaven and earth become one. So I believe very strongly in that. Now, can I
In the millennium?
prove it? Well,
What do you think that
Can I prove it? No. He just cut off by Jordan Peterson.
means? So let's delve in. That's such a hard topic. Let's delve into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So Christ tells his followers to be perfect like his Father in heaven is perfect.
Yes.
And there's continuous injunctions in the Gospels to
There's no buttholes in heaven? Then it's not heaven. Then it's just not heaven for me.
bring about the kingdom of heaven on earth.
Yeah.
That's central to the Lord's Prayer. And there's an idea that lurks in the opening chapters of Genesis about the reestablishment of the eternal Eden. And so it looks like, to me, there's an insistence that the goal of the true religious striver is to establish paradise on earth, something like that. And
So to strive for paradise on earth is something that he thinks is like a fucking woke, fucking Marxist. We're cultural Marxists if we want like healthcare and walkable cities and buses. It's also bad if it's perfect on earth. We have the resources to bring everyone's quality of life to a high point, but instead they suckle at the teat of capitalism, which is definitely Christian's golden calf, along with Trump.
I mean, that can take some vicious utopian spins that are very counterproductive, but
Utopian spin. See, that he immediately covers his ass because it sounded like he was talking about everything socialists talk about. Like, socialists are just like, hey, we don't have to toil and we could have things pretty easy here. We could probably have like a 20-ish hour work week, have everybody's needs met, high quality of life, lots of leisure time. Work is something, hopefully, that fulfills you and or fills your pockets. You know what I mean? Like, this could be good. We could have lots of healthcare professionals, lots of educators, lots of mental health care workers.
Yes, socialism works.
Exactly, Mr. Whiskers.
that's the underlying idea.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know how to reconcile that with the idea of, so that's heaven. That's the heaven that people are striving to bring about when they aim upward properly and walk up Jacob's ladder. And I don't know how to reconcile that with notions of the afterlife with regard to death. We have the strange insistence on the part of Christianity, too, that Christ defeated death and evil,
Yeah.
in spite of the evidence that death and evil continue in this world unabated. And so
I'm having a hard time reconciling these really poorly thought out archaic beliefs, and under the scrutiny of modern thinking, they don't do great. It's pretty tough to think. It's pretty tough to think when you got Christianity in your brain knocking around. I don't want capitalist heaven or whatever these two are blabbing about. I know, right?
there's a paradox there. Like,
Jacob's Ladder? I prefer Jane Elevator. Wow. The lesbian agenda, Macchionio? For shame.
how do you reconcile in your own mind the insistence that part of the Christian moral pattern is to perfect the world and to raise the material up to the heavenly with the notion of the afterlife and immortality? I know that's a terrible question, but
No, it's
I'd like to
question.
know your thoughts on it.
Well, I think coming back to the statement of Jesus, be perfect as your Father in heaven is.
So the goal is to make it
Woman Jesus.
The goal is to make it real, happy, and livable here on Earth, but not really, though, because that'd be too bad. It'd be communism.
Perfect. Bottom line, nobody can be perfect. We fall short. So the point of that to me is we sin against God. Now, some of us sin more than others, but we all sin. We had a little Halloween event at our church, and we had one of those, the bell where you hit the thing with the hammer. And so I've hit that and hit the bell in the past. So I got it out and I hit it and I got so close, but I never got it. I think I spent a half hour trying to ring that bell and I fell short. So God has set perfection. That's the standard for humanity. Well, who can be perfect? Answer no. And that's where Jesus comes in.
Why? I don't really think that's what's happening here. Perfection? I just think Christians need to fucking calm down. Just ridiculous. I need to be perfect. You don't. Can you imagine how freeing it would be for a Christian to see the world through my eyes for 2 seconds? Like, steel man my position. God doesn't exist. Like, for real. Never has. Every decision you've ever made has been done by yourself, with your motivation, like, with your acumen. You did it yourself. God never did nothing for you. Never will. Like, imagine the confidence these people could have to understand that their lives are their own. Sad, bro.
Because the Bible says, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So going back to the Garden of Eden, our first parents sinned. And because
they didn't sin, they didn't have the concept of good or evil prior to eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is the thing that happened in the Garden of Eden in the beginning of Genesis. The original sin is ridiculous. It's a setup. God is omniscient. He creates Adam and Eve without the capacity to understand right from wrong, and then they do something wrong while gaining the knowledge that they're doing that. He knew that was going to happen. It's a setup, dude. Obviously not true, but like the OG writers of the Bible weren't too bright, were they?
They ate of the forbidden fruit, which, by the way, the Bible never says was an apple. I don't know where the apple came from.
Oh, well, that would be white people. Did you know white people lie? White Jesus is also a lie.
But, it was something that was very attractive. If you ate of it, it would give you this supernatural wisdom, knowing good and evil. Supposedly, that's what the lie was. They ate of the fruit, and sin came into the world. So if Adam and Eve had not eaten of the forbidden fruit, we wouldn't die. If they had not eaten of the forbidden fruit, we wouldn't age and get sick.
Yeah, we would. With or without this myth, all of these things would still happen. It's just cell degradation, man. We're just a collection of cells. It just can't keep equilibrium in perpetuity. It's just impossible. Cells break down eventually. We can only replace them at such a rate. The degradation of these things is very fascinating, but it really is just a chemical process that has a timetable. And eventually these chemical processes can't hold together for long enough, and they have to move apart and discorporate and become new chemistry. That's just how it works.
If they hadn't eaten of the forbidden fruit, I'd probably have hair right now, right? So these are the effects of aging.
You'd probably have hair, no?
But here's the thing, is that the earth, life on earth is not everything.
Sin makes people age.
This is the before life, then there's the afterlife. C.S. Lewis, what did he call it? He had a phrase for it that he used often in his writings about Shadowlands. That's right, Shadowlands. So the idea of Lewis was that what we're seeing now at its very best, take the greatest moment of your life with your friends, having a meal, enjoying life together, maybe a beautiful sunset. It's a shadow of greater things to come. It's not like earth is the real thing and heaven is the imitation. It's actually, according to the Bible, the other way around. Heaven is the real thing. See, going back to Abraham,
You see how, like, once you flip this in your head, like, imagine, right? Like, a Christian flips around in their head the importance of life and death, right? Death to a Christian is more important than life. And this is true for all of them. Like, it's all just preparation to die so that you can have a good death and an after death. Matrix simulation, kind of. And so it's a death cult. they worship the concept of death. Death surrounds the Jesus myth. Death surrounds the fucking Genesis myth. It's with every one of their characters. It's a whole thing. And because this religion is a cope about death and suffering, like they just center it. It's so sick. It is a death cult, man. And so now he can't cope at all with reality. He in now thinks that reality, his one life, is a mere mirage of what possible goodness awaits him in death. And so now, like, this lack of appreciation, this is just a fleeting, impermanent state of existence, and it means less. I'm going to see my kid again someday. I don't need to, like, process this. I don't need to understand life or death. It's just a cope, man. Just so sick. What a waste. What a waste.
He was looking for a city that had foundations, whose builder and maker was God. He was looking for something he never found in all of his journeys. And I think it was a longing for the afterlife. And we all have that longing. And one day when we get to heaven, I think we'll see that the greatest experiences of earth were only a shadow.
Super blowjobs in heaven. Super blowjobs for everybody. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Literally, probably. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. You've heard of pizza? Pizza 2 has just hit the market in heaven. I know. What even does it do? 4-dimensional pizza. Pizza 2. Pizza cubed, really, when you think about it. I know. You've heard of mini tacos? You may have heard of mini tacos, but now they have tiny mini tacos. How do they even get them that small? There's no way. No way of knowing.
Of greater things to come. So I believe
literally, on account of the super blowjobs.
Very firmly.
Do not call them micro tacos. That is sinful.
In a real heaven.
They're tiny mini tacos.
Where I'll do real things and I'll be reunited with my son.
You know how everyone...
Wow. I'll be reunited with my son. Didn't even get to fucking finish the sentence. ExpressVPN ad. Let's go, dude. Let's go. ExpressVPN. Yeah, Jordan, lean forward.
That when you have those great experiences, that
Yes.
they're, first of all, the fact that we can have a category that's great experiences indicates that there's some commonality between those experiences, right? The peak moments of your life when you're at the apex, right? It's all the same symbolic language. And that obviously is emblematic of something that unites all of those episodes, right?
Dude, it's so Anglo-centric. Do you ever notice how, and he's not the only one, lots of fucking woo-woo merchants do this shit. It's like, culturally to him, this is the greatest moment. We call it this because of this, you know what I mean? Like, but, you know, these experiences are different, and the cultures on Earth have different ideas of what these moments would be, and what the iconography would be, and the motif of it. It's just so... Fucking Jordan Peterson's world is the dead center of everything all the time. He can't zoom out.
You could call that heavenly, and you could think about it as an echo of a place. I mean,
Spark
I
up,
still don't
Jordan.
understand the relationship between that, and I think that's all true,
Smoke
by
him
the
while you
way.
got him.
And I mean, I've seen too that Jacob's ladder, like God is the ineffable pinnacle of this endless upward spiral that's Jacob's ladder, and he's ineffable in part because maybe you have an ideal and you take 10 steps toward it and now you're near it, but then you see that the true ideal is yet farther than that. And so you reconstruct your vision of the ideal and you progress towards that. And then when you get there, you see that that's only a shadow of the true ideal. And I don't think there's any bottom to the abyss, so to speak, on the malevolent side. I don't think there's any pinnacle to upward. And there is a vision of heaven in that, but I still struggle to understand the relationship between that and the moral requirement of people to aim towards, you know, one of the things my wife...
I guess we're just gonna bail on whatever the fuck that sentence was.
and I have been practicing. We got much better at this. She just about died 3 years ago, and so did I. And like close enough so that as far as we were both concerned, we were either dead or wanted to be. Like it was, and for a very long time. And anyways, that didn't happen. And so we were pretty happy about the fact that each other were around before that, but much happier afterwards. And that's we've really never forgotten that, even moment to moment. And one of the things that we've decided to practice is to notice when we're interacting with one another in a manner that's optimal. And it's
in a manner that's optimal? I like to make sure that my interactions with my wife are optimal. That's for sure. When I'm sitting in the room with her and just enjoying her presence, I think, this is not very optimal. And then I make a change because I'm the man and I'm in charge in this Christian household.
It's interesting because it's also, I've known her since she was 8.
Great. That's so great.
Wow.
So we were childhood friends.
How long? What was the youngest age she's known you since? Just asking. Just wondering.
And we were good friends. And I can remember what she was like when she was a little kid, and she was an excellent little kid, and she was very popular and very much fun to be around. And I can see in her that spirit coming back to life, like very frequently. And so one of the things we've learned to do is to notice when that's happening, right? And first of all, to notice, second, to appreciate it, but then to see if we could practice extending the amount of time that we're in that state.
Being happy together or something? I don't even know. What a strange way to even talk about this. I don't even know. Like, when my wife and I are having a good time together, we stop, we take note of it, and we say, we're having a good time together, aren't we? And then we try very hard to regain whatever the momentum was at that moment and see if we can keep it going. Pretty weird.
And you can get much better at that if you practice, just like you get better at everything that you practice. And that is something like I used to counsel my clients.
This guy's just saying, yeah, because Jordan Peterson is talking at him.
As well to do this is if they were depressed is, to monitor their mood and then to see times when they were less depressed. Because even someone who's even quite depressed still varies. So you say, well, sometimes you're going to be like on the brink of suicide, but other times you're going to forget that you're depressed. You got to see what you're doing when things are better. And then you have to start doing those things more.
Right.
Well, and that's how you get people going to Starbucks and being obsessed with the barista. Seems like not great advice. Hey, anything that suscites your suicidal ideation, just lean into that. Doesn't matter what it is. I can't see any possible downside to this advice whatsoever. Also, hedonism, right? You know what really takes the edge off? I was going to say heroin, but cocaine, yeah. Yeah.
Right, so you can practice that. And so you can take these little visions of paradise that you get in life and you can expand them with practice. And then I think as you do that, inside that window, then another window opens up, or another door. That's the door you knock on, right?
Knock on
another
it.
door opens, and then
Get
you
it,
can
brother.
expand that. And I don't think that is a paradisal vision. I don't think there is any end to that. But I still don't understand the relationship that
This guy doesn't know what the fuck Jordan's talking about. Look at his body language. He's just like, his eyes are closed, basically, or he's squinting and he's like leaning back, and he doesn't really know how to chime in.
between that, even theologically, and the idea of life after death, I can see that it means life eternal, because what happens in those moments of transcendence is that you do get a sense of the value of life that's eternal, right? So you're living in eternity. But as I said, I still don't understand the relationship between that and post-death existence. And
I don't know what his bugaboo there is. I don't understand why I'm going to try to even... I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to listen to him one more time just to understand why he doesn't understand that relationship.
I still don't understand if that's eternal. That you do get a sense of the value of life that's eternal, right? So you're living in eternity. But as I said, I still don't understand the relationship between that and post-death existence. And I haven't found anything biblically that's helped me clarify that. Still a mystery to me. It has something to do with heaven descending and the material world ascending and some vision of the ultimate unity of those things, but I can't make any more heads or tails of it than that. How did that become clearer to you, say, in the aftermath of your son's death?
Oh, yes, please. Wow, this is going to end in fucking 15 seconds. So it must not get that deep. Or I suppose we need to subscribe immediately to the Daily Wire Plus. How about this? Instead of doing that, subscribe immediately to me because it was more fun than whatever this fucking shit show was. So Jordan Peterson can't understand, like, maybe the value of an eternal existence in heaven or something.
Well, that's one of the biggest questions of all. You know, what happens after we die?
Oh, thanks. The hope for all of us is to live a life as fulfilled as you can get it, knowing that, perfection is not a thing that's going to happen. Seek happiness, seek joy with others, with yourself, with pets, with hobbies. Trust me. Just seek joy, okay? As much as you can get of it. It's not always hedonism either. Mowing the lawn can bring you joy. Doing the dishes can bring some joy, because now you're like, well, I don't feel bad about not doing it. Or my shit's clean, or, those lines look good. Just try to do that. It's not always going to work. Sometimes you got to do shit that is certifiably not joyous. But we get so little of it. So there's nothing else to do. But that's the thing. Like, existence is both quite limited and unlimited, because the concept of joy seeking can be so wide. And I really urge everybody, because of this materialist understanding that we live one time, you have to do it every day, but try to experience new things. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be bungee jumping. It can be. I'm not going to do it though. But you know your lines, like bungee jumping. If sushi's not for you, don't get it. But maybe it is. Maybe you want to go dancing or something. I don't know. You want to go do that thing. You should do that thing. Whatever the thing is, you should go do that. You should shoot your shot more. You should put yourself in a position to socialize a little bit more than you do. Life is scary? Well, yeah, but so? Just scare life back. Unironically, you are one of the actors in life that gets to be, affecting fate. Socializing is so natural that I think the problem with human existence and a lot of our suffering is self-inflicted because of our ability to conceive of ways in which the experience will be bad. And so that's the hard part for a lot of people with socializing, because they're like, well, what if I say something stupid? Here's the secret. You're all saying stupid stuff. I'm the only one saying anything smart. So, and I say nothing dumb ever once. Never ever said something dumb. So don't even worry about it. I took that, like Jesus, I took that burden off your backs, okay? Don't even worry about that shit. Everyone's a silly little guy. Everybody poops. Like every morning, you're taking shits. You're eating Taco Bell. You gotta stop thinking about trying so hard. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I never consider what other people are thinking about me unless, never really. Not in the moment. I think this is a learned response to probably social experiences. Typically our upbringing, often our parents. Anyway, what happens after we die? You're dead! So try living a little bit.